Alright, so this We the People News. One more time, y'all. This video is without prejudice and or without recourse, okay? I never just look straight forward. I always look around me to be able to protect myself by any means necessary, alright? I'm not an attorney. I am not giving legal advice. I may voice my opinion every now and then. However, I'm not an attorney, so do not take it as such, okay? Always research what I say. Why? Because I'm an idiot. I'm an average man. I'm just making my way through the thorn bushes, y'all. And this is Sovereign Productions 369. Alright? Now listen to what he has to say, alright? He's actually pretty awesome. I've seen 2 videos and this is one of them. And I thought it was something that we should know. Alright?
It's Tone. I'm back for another one. And so today we're going to go over the definitions of a promissory estoppel, excuse me, which is one of the services that I actually offer. And I'm going to run through the benefits of having it and what it puts you in a position to do once you have it in place, right? So we're going to go to the definition of promissory estoppel. Okay, so we got promissory estoppel is a contract law concept devised to stop entities from going back on promises, even when they are not written down in a contract. If a promise is violated, the promissory estoppel enables the promisee to sue the promisor. The law enables the victim to take action even without a legal document backing up the promise, but you're going to have the document anyway, so you're going to bring that in and show proof of the contract that you have with the individual entities, right? So you're not going to be sending this to just a broad agency, right? You're going to be dealing directly with specific agents, so it's going to be your governor, your mayor, Supreme Court justices and things like this, right? So now these are things that I have in place, and I'll actually run you down a funny story too of something that's about to be taking place that has to do with one of these actually. And so here you see estoppel. Estoppel is a judicial device in common law legal systems whereby a court may prevent or stop a person from making assertions or going back on his or her word. The person being sanctioned is whoever you send it to, right? So that's who's going to be sanctioned by all this. And so once you get these sent out, it's going to put you in a position to hold individuals personally liable. And so it's not just going to be that they're liable in the sense of their public title or whatever like that. So this is gonna apply in public, and it's going to apply in the private. So
I'm going to pause it there right quick, right? That goes into when you're making a claim, right? When they say that you're not guilty, no contest, or innocent, or they never will say innocent, guilty. You're making a claim. Alright, they're still putting you in a contract venue. Alright, and you have a right to refuse any contract, period. Or you can say, hey, I'll accept your offer on these conditions. Now you can still do a plea with the courts and all that, things like that, right? But I just wanted to kind of bring that up.
Getting them on both sides. Usually they have somewhere to run. There's nowhere to run when you contract with them directly. It's going to be valid in the public because it's going to be notarized, and it's going to be valid in the private because you sent it directly to them, right? So there really is nowhere to hide once you send this. So then here in the second part, we're going to get into your constitutional right to contract, right? And so this references the 1778 Constitution for the United States of America, where it references your right to contract. Now, one thing I want to make clear is that none of your contracts ever came from or come from a piece of paper. The paper Because then somebody could just set that shit on fire, and where the fuck are your rights then? Up in smoke? Absolutely not. These documents only reference rights that you already have that were given to you by the creator.
By the way, what we call the bar unions now, actually back in the Second British War here in the United States, 1812, that's what all the attorneys did. They went to a lot of courthouses and they burned the courthouses to get rid of documents. And when you heard about the White House burning down, what do you think that was? Documents.
Really that fucking simple. You know what I'm saying? But they would like to have you believe that your rights come from a piece of paper. Yeah, right. Because then that means that we can set all their books on fire and then wear their laws, right? Yeah, it doesn't really work like that, bro. Absolutely not. Cut it out. So look, so here, this references the constitutional right to contract. Another thing when it comes to contracting is that you have the unlimited right to contract, which means you can contract with whoever you want, and these people cannot get in the way. On top of that, they are all public servants. They don't have the liberty to dismiss anything that you send them or to disregard any contracts that you wish to enter into with them. Now, so when you send them this documentation referencing your constitutional rights, you need to keep in mind that these people all signed oaths to uphold the Constitution. So, which is funny too, because when you bring it up to them, they act like they don't know what you're talking about. Oh, really? Well, you definitely had to sign that in order to be working there. So some of these people are working there without even having signed a constitutional oath at all, which is not legal. You're not going to be sitting there. I wonder how many people like that have actually ruled on people's cases and sent them to jail without even having allegiance to anything here in the America. Crazy. So this clause on the Constitution protecting the obligation of contracts from impairment does not apply to contracts made after the passage of the law affecting them. So that means that they have the liberty to pick and choose if you're gonna try to contract with them regarding laws that were passed after the Constitution. Now, when you bring up this fundamental documentation that you're going to be using to set your contracts with, this is all prior to them even having probably been living, I would imagine, for one, and then prior to them working in office. So they have no say on any of this because you're referencing some of the foundational principles here in America when it comes to law just in general. So they're not at liberty to pick and choose here. And so all the contracts that we're going to be sending them is all referencing our constitutional rights as well. So if you look at it like a game of chess, there's nowhere for them to go, right? If I'm going to bring up the Constitution and I'm going to say, hey, look, the Constitution says that I have a right to contract on limited and protect my property as well, and then you're going to put your property all listed inside of this contract as well. So you're going to list your car, you're going to list your children, you're going to list all your property, your house, all that these people are not allowed to tamper with. And then you're going to reference this, the constitutional right to contract, which they all signed the oath to. So when you send that to them and tell them, hey, look, you're not going to be pulling me over, you're not going to be coming to my house, you're not going to be talking to my kids, you're not going to be asking me crazy questions, right? And unless there was a crime committed, I don't even want to be speaking to you, right? And you're going to put all this in your contract, and you're going to send it directly to them. So that way somebody's going to be held liable. So who do you send it to? You send it to the people's bosses. So if you're dealing with the police, mayor, things like that, go right to the governor, go right to the Supreme Court justices, and you're going to contract with these individuals directly. Because somebody needs to be watching these little minions. You know what I'm saying? Which is what a public servant is. You go ahead and look up the legal definition of public servant, and you're going to see minions there. So somebody needs to be watching these stupid little devils. You know what I mean? Acting like they can be out here doing whatever they want. It doesn't work like that. So once you contract with them and you have this already in place, then you can deal with them however you want to, really, because then you're dealing with trespassing criminals and things like that at that point, who have already been put on notice. And really, all you have to do is put them on notice, whether they want to act like they got it or not. That's all up to them if they want to be dealing with mail fraud and things like that. Because look, so once you send this to them, you're gonna have it all postmaster certified and all that. So that's another one of your witnesses. Another witness is going to be the notary, which you could have her send it as well. I personally take it in though. You know what I mean? And everything is clean. I haven't really had any issues with getting it mailed out and things like that. Sometimes they take it personal whenever you send it to them. That's not your problem. You know what I mean? A lot of these people don't even know law, so it's beyond me why they act and do what they do. But it is what it is. So moving on, the right to contract is secured by the constitutional provisions protecting property and liberty. The legislature has nevertheless an undoubted and wide range of power in making future contracts illegal or void. So anything that was passed, say after the Constitution or whatever, things like that. But they can't touch this. So illustrations of specific statutes which are held valid have already been discussed in connection with illegal and void contracts. In the present chapter, we will pass by those already discussed and consider the other forms of statutes about which there has been a greater variance of judicial opinion. So when it comes to codes and statutes that they pass, pretty much all of them, if they're not in line with what this Constitution says, then they're null and void. And I mean, you have every right to act like they don't even exist, because they don't. I mean, really, it's on a piece of paper that some guys wrote the night before without even asking you how you felt about that. That's a little freaking ridiculous if you ask me, because that means that I can do that too, right? Come on, cut it out. So anyway, so what you're gonna do is send these contracts through notary. If you really feel like you need to. I personally don't, but I mean, you probably should. And then, so that'll be the first document. You're going to send 3 of these to them. So the first one is just going to be a offer to contract. And then the second one is going to be an opportunity to cure. 30 days after you send it, you send them the opportunity to cure, assuming that they made a mistake and misplaced it or forgot to fill it out or whatever. The third is going to be a notice of default, which means that they have defaulted into the contract with you by failure to respond, which they have a duty to respond. So they made a conscious choice not to. So now they're in a contract with you, and court is closed. Court is mail. It is the mail, and this is all private that you're going to be dealing with these individuals. So the mail is your court. So that's your court of record. And all of your green return sheets are going to be what you're going to use if you ever have to place a lien on them and things like that. So if at any point that they violate any of these stipulations that you set in the contract with your public service, which is what they are, if they do happen to violate any of them, then they're going to be liable for your fee schedule, which you will have in place as well. And so what you're going to do is go ahead and mail them invoices, right, through a notary, and let them know what their violations were, and that you plan on going ahead to make a claim on their public hazard bond. Okay, so it's going to be through the Office of Risk Management. That's where you're going to find their hazard bonds. But you should go ahead and take the liberty of doing anyway, prior to even having any issues. Once you send all this out, go ahead and get copies of all that, accept them for value, stamp them, and go ahead and make your claims on them. So we don't have to sue them. We don't have to go through all their motions and ask them if we can sue them to get money and all that. That's not how that shit works. We are the government. You need to know that. So these people work for you, and all of those little what do you call it? Litigation and all that shit. That shit is for them, right? That's not for us. So when they make violations that are obvious violations, then you just go ahead and tax them. It isn't about asking them if you could tax them. It doesn't work like that. They're the ones that were granted the privilege of this limited delegated authority, and they're gonna go ahead and violate that. Then they're gonna have to pay for that. So you're gonna have proof that they were already noticed, and proof of the violations, and that's really all that you need. You really don't have to do anything else. I mean, on top of that, it only takes like 3 or 4 violations. So say you go ahead and do that, somebody else does. One more time, if they have a blanket bond, the whole town is out of work. They're going to be in the unemployment office by the end of the month if you really want to get crazy with them. You know what I mean? So look at it like a game of chess. And these people already lost, but they convinced you to think that they were the ones that were really running the show. Beyond me. So yeah, I mean, this thing runs real deep. I've been studying all this stuff for years, and I've just been mind blown as to how these people have managed to somehow flip the narrative of all this. And I mean, if you really think about it, this shit's freaking retarded. To even think that somebody wearing the badge of a public servant is ever gonna try to get disrespectful at all. You know what I'm saying? So the shit is, out of this world. Out of this world. I don't know what planet they do that on, but over here that shit can't fly anymore. That shit can't happen anymore. So, you know what I mean? It's on us to make the change. So, and nobody can do this for you. This is all stuff that you have to do. You know what I mean? And so if you guys are interested in any of my services, I can go ahead and run through some of the documentation and let you know what the fees are gonna be. Any questions that you have, go ahead and send me an email, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So that's what I got for you for now. I hope you learned something from this random video, and I hope that it made sense to you. And if it doesn't make sense to you, then you should probably get to studying a lot fast, because things are changing fast. And I mean, you're either gonna know what you're doing or you're not. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're just gonna have to go with the crowd. That's not a good look. So that's what I got for you for now. Until we meet again.
Alrighty. There you go, guys. And women. Till next time, this will be the People News. Bye, y'all.